On this week's episode of Car Stars and Roll Bars, everything going on in the world of car culture and racing and celebrities and just cool stuff out there all the time. I appreciate everybody checking us out. Make sure to hit us up on social media, like and subscribe and share. You know the drill. And each week we go, man, we got this great guest coming in. I don't think we can do any better. And then each week I'm proved wrong. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to kind of duct tape the children to the lawn chairs. We're going top fuel today with the one, the only, in my humble opinion, one of the best ever, Larry Dixon. Three-time NHRA Camping World Series Top Fuel champion in 2021, Motorsports Hall of Fame America, and he is a legend in my humble opinion on drag racing, justifiably so. Larry, welcome to the show, man. How you doing this morning?
Doing great. Doing better with that intro. Thank you.
We got to talk a little bit about your history. You literally grew up in the sport because you were handing dad in wrenches, and then you started wrenching for Prudhomme and a whole bunch of people. Talk a little bit about the history. That's cool stuff, man.
For me, I don't know. I can't think of a year I've been on Earth where I haven't been at the drag races. My dad had been drag racing through the 60s and 70s, far before I was born. And as soon as I was old enough to remember, I was always going to the racetrack and wanting to grow up and be like my dad and race top fuel cars. So that's kind of been the mission ever since. And then once I got there, it's definitely a passion. You know, you just enjoy it and still going to the track.
Still going to track. And I'm looking at my notes. In 95, you were Rookie of the Year. And in 2010, wow, you did 12 finals, including the U.S. Nationals. Wow. So that'd be kind of like one of those epic seasons, right, buddy?
Well, guys, you just keep setting your standards higher. And from the standpoint, you know, when I was a kid, all I wanted to do was get a shot at driving a top fuel car. And once you do that, then you want to qualify, and then you want a round win, then a race win. And then, you know, you get to that point, then you want a series championship and then multiple championships. But when you get to that level where you're racing for championships, the ultimate is to be able to win Indy and a championship in the same year. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to have done that. So, 2010 was a great year.
Great year. Now, we're going to give you a little tease here in a moment because you've heard me talk about I love having my intro videos and, 1,000 words, blah, blah, blah. We have a teaser for you on what's directly behind Mr. Dixon, but we ain't going to really talk about it yet. So it's going to be towards the end of the show. I guarantee it's going to be the wait. In the meantime, Rick, I think we have a little intro so viewers get a sense what it's like to go for a ride with Mr. Dixon.
So what'd you think of all of that? I know you were squealing. It's incredible.
Larry, I've been around 30,000 horsepower engines, mostly jet engines, but this was unbelievable. The passage of time is what surprised me. It goes so fast, so quick. And it's just, there's vibration and the sounds and everything else. It's nothing short of incredible.
So I'm sure the viewers are going to say, what's this all about? We aren't going to tell them yet, but we had to give them a teaser, right, boss? To let them know what's coming. Because that's going to be a lot of fun. Before we go there, we have a whole folder we call Early Days. So this is a little bit of a flashback. And Larry, thank you for sending all those photos to us and stuff. With dudes like you, man, it's so weird. I says, okay, I have all these photos. And my producer goes, Mike, we have a limited time for the show. We cannot have 100 photos. But I said, but they're all so good. So, Rick, I think we got a few kind of back in the day. So is this your dad kind of, is that like a 50, looks like a Tri-5 they're wrenching on?
That's a 55 Chevy. That's my dad. It would be the third one from the right, and then my grandpa is right next to him, fourth on the right. And that was they took that. He took his engine and put this blown small block Chevrolet and put it in this 55 Chevy, my grandpa's, and they went out and raced at the time that would have been San Fernando Raceway out in Southern California. Yeah, that
Very,
would
very
be,
cool.
gosh, I'm saying 65-ish,
Nice.
somewhere around that day.
I love it. We got a few more shots here. And you talk about growing up in racing. I believe that is you being held by your dad.
Yeah, that's gosh, that ended up making it in NHRA's 50th anniversary yearbook, and
Yep.
that's my dad winning the 1970 Winternationals in Pomona, and
Nice.
at the time the story, because I don't remember, I think I was 3 years old at the time, but he said at the time they just wanted, no crew, none of the team or anything like that, and it was just wanting a picture with him and the trophy, and he's like, I ain't doing that. And then he just like, come on, son. And then I guess I ran there and they got that picture, and there it is. I mean, gosh, talking about it 50 some years later.
Yeah. How cool is that?
Yeah.
And so now that looks like you might be in kind of the business seat there, so to speak.
So yes, that was 1987 Pomona,
Right.
and that was my I think my second year racing, crewing, not racing, but crewing on top fuel cars. And so my dad was at the race. My sister's in the background, along with my godfather Terry Caldwell. But yeah, that would have been 1980, and I was working. It says Larry on the cowl, but that's Larry Minor, and I was working on the Miller American top fuel car and Larry Minor owned and drove it.
Well, I love it. That goes back a ways. Wow, how cool is that?
Yeah. How about that haircut, right? That hairstyle. So yeah, my dad, that would be I'm going to say 1967, 68 at the latest. And this was a car that my dad raced. It was called the Fireside Inn Roadster. It actually ran in comp eliminator, but it was a top fuel engine, and it ran in comp because of the fenders over the tires. But he would some of the fuel, he would enter it in some of the top fuel meets and actually won a bunch with the car, a competition, a comp eliminator roadster racing in top fuel, and ended up winning a bunch. But that car won a lot in Southern California. They never traveled with it, but it ran at Lyons, Irwindale, and San Fernando mostly.
Yeah, and I think we got one more coming up. There's kind of the money shot.
Oh boy, yeah. How about anytime you get a picture with Linda Vaughn, right?
Yeah,
Whether you're
exactly.
3 years old or 83 years old, like that was that's the Winter Circle of Pomona, 1970. So
wow, very cool.
If it wasn't for racing, I don't know that I'd have any scrapbook pictures,
Well, I'll tell you, before we jump to the next photos, and I had the pleasure for years, I announced with McClellan, I announced with Bob Fry, you're going to hear his voice later today, and my neighbor had got sick. It was one of the national events. I had that 50th anniversary coffee table book, and I was walking through the pits with Reinhardt, talking to everybody, and we found you, and you looked for the page for the picture with your dad holding you, because that's a page you wanted to autograph for my neighbor. True story.
Yeah, that's it's awesome. I just that's a great thing that I think the sport of drag racing, at least for our family, it's just it's something passionate. I actually got one of my sons. It's getting into cars too. So. But yeah, just generational, and you see that, whether you're talking about the Unsers or Earnhardts or even the Dixons.
Definitely more than even just the next. Talking about racing, nice segue, Larry. Yeah, I think we got a few pics of that as well. That is probably when you talk Top Fuel and Larry Dixon, this is the shot you kind of think of. It's a cool of the evening, and you're getting full load coming out of the cylinders. That's a shot and a half, man.
That race right there, that was at this year's Indy U.S. Nationals race, and that's the first time entering a car and not driving. I'm actually my capacity in that shot, I'd be the team owner. And we got Will Smith licensed the month before and entered his first race at the U.S. Nationals. But yeah,
cool.
Gosh, I mean I can go off in another direction, but there isn't a more cooler sport in motorsport at night than running nitro cars, just because of the header flames. And for the life of me, I can't figure, and that's what I grew up on. Like those Saturday night races with my dad. We'd go to Irwindale or Orange County or Long Beach or whatever the case, and it'd be night racing. I don't know why we don't do night racing. We do night qualifying on one night, but we never race during the night. I think it'd be just the coolest thing in the world for fans. And for the teams to be able to race in prime time.
I totally agree, and the effects would be stunning. Now, this is a shot that's been more than once. I think that might be like one of those Wally trophies you're holding.
Yeah, to be honest with you, that's the last one I won at a national event. That would have been 2010 Phoenix, driving for Alan Johnson, the Alan Abbey team.
Yep. We got some video clip of that later on as well. We got a few more shots here. Now, you won't brag on this, because I'm going to. Man, when you get inducted in the Motorsports Hall of Fame, that is a smoking big deal.
Man, I tell you, when I thought it was a crank call when I got the phone call, because you're just so busy racing and just doing your thing. And then all of a sudden, you get that phone call, and it's like, and I don't think of myself as older, and I know I'm getting there, or retired. So, you're not sitting by the phone waiting for the phone call. And so you're doing your thing. You get this phone call, hey, you got voted in, and it's amongst your peers. It was very, very humbling, and I'm so honored to have my name at the Hall of Fame, and that Hall of Fame's down at Daytona Beach, Florida, at the NASCAR at the museum there.
Absolutely. And congratulations, it's very well deserved. And I think we got something else coming up here. So, your next career, you went to a door slammer.
Hey, what's funny? That's from this year. That picture there is actually taken from the Pickers guys. That's that antique archaeology.
Yep.
We had
Mike Wolf and the guys.
I was doing a drag. That was during the Midwest. I think it was the Midwest Drags. No, that was actually during Hot Rod Magazine's Drag Week, and we
cool.
And you take your drag car and you run it on the street. You go from track to track to track, and we ran at Cordova, and their place is right across. Yeah, there we go. Got a wheels up shot. That's not photoshopped either. I didn't have a floor jack underneath my car to do that. So it's but that car, I've had that car since just out of high school. That was literally my old street race car. Yeah, and I've kept it this whole time. And I went race, I'm gonna say big show racing, and I'm like, I'll get back to my car, and then all of a sudden 20 years, then 30 years go by, and then all of a sudden it's like I got more time now, and I want to start playing with my car. So
good for you, man.
Ended up putting it's got a 2016 LT4 Corvette engine in it.
Sweet.
And it runs in the 9s at 20 plus miles to the gallon on pump gas, and I drive that car everywhere. I just freaking love that car so much.
So you don't even have to run avgas in it.
Oh gosh, no. Wow. Yeah, those days are done, man. I'm telling you, everybody kind of longs for the old days. Some people do. Not me. I mean, that modern technology like that, where you can have an engine make that much power. I mean, it's close to 700 horsepower, and it gets 20 plus miles to the gallon on pump gas. I did that drag week. I teched on a Sunday and ran all week long, and I never even opened the hood until I got home on Friday. It was just, again, I'm going to brag on GM because that's a Chevrolet, but Dodge and Ford and the other manufacturers got the same kind of thing going, just big horsepower engines. So you get crate engines, put them in your cars and go out and have fun. And I got my old, car. So AM radio and all that, but that drivetrain, it's modern technology, and I just love it.
And you're right on target, especially with a crate engine. Now, some of them you'll get like a warranty, but I can, me, I'm an old Mopar guy, right? And so I can get a blown 426 in a crate. Yeah. And I told Mary, I said, I want to get one. She says, what are you going to put it in? I said, I don't know yet. I just want to get one. But it's just, So far we haven't been successful. We're talking about in 2010, one of your passes, and I think we've got a little video for the viewers. So this is what Mr. Dixon's day job looked like for quite a few years. Phil, Rick, hit that play button, buddy.
Dixon, Schumacher. Dixon's won 7 races this year. Schumacher's won 4. No matter what happens here, they will leave 1 and 2 in the points. Question is, who leaves with the trophy? That's a good old drag race. Top end Larry Dixon. He was dominant here on race day. 3.879. Dixon in finals this year, unbeaten, untied, unscored upon. In his 100th final round.
Everybody loved Bob Fry, and I had the pleasure of being in the tower of him many, many times. And I love that line, just unbeaten, unscored, unscored upon. I'm going, yeah, that's Larry Dixon, man. You're on a roll, baby.
Yeah, those were definitely some good times. And I tell you, racing that Schumacher Army team, they're tough. So anytime that and I liked racing them because it kept you honest. If you got the win, like, you absolutely know you earned it. So, and there was a 10-year stretch, where, a 10-year stretch at Indy where it was either us or him winning that event. So it was definitely cool. Great battle in them. And I tell people, if it wasn't for Schumacher, I'd have more wins, but vice versa. The same for him. It was just great times back then.
Well, another area that I view that you and Tony are so much alike. We film NHRA for CSRB, and the list goes on. We had a chance to say howdy to him in the pits, and he goes, "Hey, can you come back in 10 minutes? I'm gonna give you all the time you want." And he did. Just like you guys are just so gracious. I think that's something also very unique about NHRA and the relationship between all these celebrities of motorsports, in my humble opinion, and the fans. You guys are much more, you can kind of say howdy, get an autograph and a picture.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you that I don't know any different. I mean, that's always how it was. When I was a little kid, I could go up to any pit area and get Don Garlitz or Shirley Muldowney or Don Prudhomme, Tom McEwen, the like. So that's, other motorsports are a little bit different. And I've gone to them before, and they treat it kind of more or less like the NFL. But that ain't how we roll in drag racing. So like that's something you buy a ticket and you get a pit pass, and you go in there and you see, the John Forces or the Britneys or Antron Brown, who the like. And that's what I always dig. And I always tell people, we put our pants on just like everybody else. So
absolutely correct. Got a couple more.
And I try to treat people how I like to be treated.
Yeah, it's like a couple more video clips before we go there, real quick. I'm going to ask you what your favorite automotive memory is, but I think you've already shared it. It's just the life you've had, right, brother?
Yeah, my favorite. I don't even know if I have a favorite. I know that we were talking the other day about events that I've gone to. One that really sticks out to me was when I was crewing on Don Prudhomme's funny car, and I was just a pit crew guy. But Indianapolis, 1989, and we won the Budweiser shootout and won the race, and that was a fun race. And I don't look at whether I was driving or crewing or whatever the case is. It's like you're a team, so like it doesn't matter what capacity you are. It's you're at one spoke in the wheel, and so but that was a fun event for us. And me driving, I've won it 4 times, but that one might have been one of the funnest, just a very, very dominant event. So it's there's lots of them, cool. And to pick one out, I don't even know if I'd want to pick one out because, gosh, I can remember.
Right. We got a few more picks we're going to step through rather quickly because we want to reserve a little bit of time for an amazing video. Viewers, get ready. That's an early hint. Just kind of, like we call top fuel to the line, right? So viewers, get ready. I think we got some shots of crew. And I think it's wow. So there's some names standing there with you, brother.
Oh, that was I want to say that was at the end of the season, 2003, after we finished at Pomona, won the championship, and if you look at people there, you see Donnie Bender's gone on to be a great crew chief in himself. Right behind him, John Collins. crew chief for Cruz Petragon right now, which just won Pomona.
Yep.
You're going to see behind Don Prudhomme, the guy with the goatee, Sean Ford, he actually crew chiefed a car entry for AJ Foyt at this year's Indy 500. So we, you know, it's just, it's great to look back at old photos and just see where everybody's gone on to. But the main guy in that picture was the guy in the center, Dick LaHaye.
Yeah.
And you know, he just he tuned us to our second consecutive championship, and I just was so honored to be able to work with him and learn from him, and he taught me so much about racing for a championship. It just the strategy involved and treating an engine like your best friend, really looking at the parts and just
and I think we got a shot.
I miss him so much.
Yeah, and I think that's a great shot right there of you and Dick. And we got one more, and I always mention to the viewers, and Larry, you'll appreciate this. I think we got one final shot coming up. We can see.
Yeah, that one shot right there was LaHaye's last win at 2005 Indy, but that one there, that was earlier this year in Australia.
Right.
Funny story about that. Their driver couldn't travel across from one side of the country to the other because of COVID. It was easier to fly me from Indianapolis to Sydney, Australia, to drive, and I literally landed on Thursday afternoon and qualified on Friday, raced on Saturday, and went home on Sunday. I mean, that was a quick trip, but yeah,
it was a quick trip.
Lots of stories.
Yeah, and when I remind the viewers, what I like about that shot, Larry, is just, you know, the driver. Don't get me wrong. You're the wing nut that holds everything together because it's either going to work or not work when you hit the loud pedal and you know how to drive it. But it's all that crew that makes the difference to be able to get you to the line to launch.
Yeah, for sure. And coming probably from the crew side, I might be more biased from that standpoint. But you know, when you got 8 or 10 guys and now girls, you know, because we got girls on the crew as well. You put all those people together to take this pile of parts and you know, put them all together and set the setup right, and then fire it down the track and hopefully get that win light. It's the coolest thing in the world.
Coolest thing in the world. And we got our video coming up, viewers, but Larry will attest readily as well. We got a few pictures early on of he and his family because we know how important that is to you as well. Man. Now check that shot out.
Oh boy, yeah, 1995 Budweiser Shootout winner, and that's with my then girlfriend Allie, which is now my wife of I'm say 28 maybe or 20. We've been together, I think, 28 years.
God bless
something,
you,
something like that. And,
yeah.
But we've been married for coming up on 25. So that's really good times. Again, you know, I think my scrapbooks revolved around drag racing for sure.
We got a couple of pics of you and there we go. So you're getting them started early. What a Wally looks like.
Oh my gosh, and my baby girl Alana. You know, earlier in the year I had won, and I gave the trophy to Donovan, my son.
Right.
And Lana, she's like, I want a trophy. And then, you know, and she picked a good one to go to. That was 2005 Indy, and she just and she got herself and she got that trophy and she hugged it like, you know. And then the funniest part is in the winner's circle. But she's like, why does it have to? And I love her for thinking like this. She's like, why does it have to be a boy on the trophy? Why can't it be a girl? So then they dressed up Wally to look like Barbara, which Barbara would be Wally Parks' wife,
right?
Barbara Parks, and so we had Barbara in the winner's circle with us. So it was again good times. I just and again you're passing generationally. You know, like I mean you're showing pictures of me with my dad, and now you know there's me with my kids. So I just again just love drag racing and that we've got to share in it.
And
that one there, that's Father's Day. That's a 5th year in a row that we won on Father's Day, and I'd never won on Father's Day before becoming a dad, and so to be able to pull that off, it was just that one there was one of the last ones I think we had at Englishtown, but before they moved the race off of Father's Day. But yeah, it was just for a while there, it just seemed like Father's Day. It's like, wow, this is this is amazing. I'd have been a dad a lot sooner if I knew that's all it took to win on Father's Day.
Well, absolutely. Hey, Rick, pull us up here together real quick. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as I mentioned earlier, duct tape your children to the lawn chairs. Hold on to your hat. What you see behind Mr. Larry, by gosh, Dixon Jr. is one of a kind. You'll say, Mike, we can't see too much. Well, stand by. There is an amazing video to introduce you to the ride of your life.
This is a 2-seater top fuel dragster. Nitro ×2, me and you. You can get in the top fuel car and go for a ride. You know, when I drive the car, it makes you feel like that the rear end's trying to pass the front end, and your mind is gonna go 100 different directions. If you think you're a thrill seeker, you're an adrenaline junkie, whatever you could possibly think of, this is gonna be more. I skydived one time, 25 years later, I'm still talking about it. This will have that effect on people for the rest of their lives. If you want to make an impact on your employees or your customers, this is it. It's put up or shut up. There's no excuses. How about that? Is that for you?
I got to tell you, Mary's been dying laughing. I'm at the house. I have my headphones up. I've got this maxed out just watching. She goes, Mike, you've watched this like 10 times. I says, yeah, but it's so cool. Just tell us a little bit about the ×2 and then how people can learn where they can get engaged, because this truly is, you heard me on, this is the ride of a lifetime.
Yeah, I tell you how it kind of came about is, you know, my career was kind of, you know, I'm kind of aging out to be a hired driver. Yeah. And it's like, what am I going to do with my life? I love the sport of drag racing, and especially top fuel cars. What can I do to be still? And I was literally sitting in traffic on the way to Pomona, and I'm like, what about a 2-seat top fuel car? And then so I get with Murph McKinney, you know, which he sits on the SFI board, you know, which has a lot to do with the design and the safety of the cars. And we laid it out on the computer and modeled it to make sure the car could be safe. You get with the insurance companies to make sure that this is something that's actually insurable, and then you know, just all the steps necessary kind of is making more sense, and just doing kind of a very informal poll of, you know, like, you know, you'd ask people, you like top fuel cars? Oh yeah. Would you drive one? Oh gosh, no. Nobody. I said, would you go for a ride in one? Oh my gosh, that would be the greatest. You know, because no responsibility. You just get. So it was kind of like all these things were leading towards it, and so we ended up building the car. And I'll tell you what, you know, like we're getting close to up to. You know, like we've given close to 50 rides now in the car. Wow. And let me tell you, I haven't had an unsatisfied customer yet. I mean, and everybody's got, and it's so awesome that people share their story. You know, some are adrenaline junkies. Absolutely. Some people just, I had one guy that when we announced the car and he knew how much it was going to cost, and the punchline on that's, you know, right around $10,000 for a ride. Sure. Not the cheapest, but running a top fuel car ain't cheap either.
Ain't cheap to begin with.
But he knew it cost that much, and he's like, he worked at a grocery store, and he's like, how he, you know, and he started doing the math, and he's like, if I save $65 a week, it'll take me 3 years. And it was like literally 3 years to the day. He called me on the phone, want to go for a ride. 2 weeks later, we ended up going for a ride down in Memphis. And I said, are you friends, family? They're going to come out and see it? Oh, no, I'm not. I don't want anybody even though I did it. I said, why not? Because I don't want people giving me a hard time about doing this ride. I want to experience it and love it. And I just like, I've gotten so many different, you know, on that same day with the guy that saved for 3 years to do this ride, I have somebody else that comes in a private jet and gets like, and he gets chauffeured to the track and he goes for a ride, and then the other end of the spectrum,
right?
You know, you've got this other guy here. They're both like say it's the greatest thing that's ever happened to them, and they come from two different, you know,
two different
worlds,
spectrums.
and it's real neat. It's just you know, obviously, when I debuted the car at SEMA in 2017, NHRA, their legal department had a real cow about it, and I wasn't looking to like offend anybody or get anybody uptight.
Yeah.
You know, had they done their due diligence, they'd know that I checked with their group before building it. So
pre-built it.
That, you know, it's just, but the car's been fun, you know, like, and a lot of people have gotten great memories. You know, going down the racetrack, and then for the people that are watching the show and listening, I mean, this car, we run 8th mile, and it's, you know, 0 to the 8th mile in a little over 3 seconds, and we get up to 250-ish mile an hour in 3 seconds. So like it's
strap it
it's
on.
a top fuel car. Yeah, and
you know,
the car's heavier because you've got 2 people in it.
Yeah.
So you can't really calm the car down, and you know, I don't want people to think this is a dumbed down, you know, amusement park ride.
Not even close.
It's not. It's a real top fuel car. I mean, I've got, you know, on the other side of this car is I've got my real top fuel car, and the drivetrains interchange between the cars, and we've done that. Run the 2-seater on one day and run the real car
I love it.
The next day, and it's the real thing.
Before we say goodbye, because again, for the viewers, we essentially staged this week. I want an opportunity to appreciate your career. Obviously, ×2, it's an amazing experience for anybody. And just in case you ever need, like, I want to be YouTube guy that, you know, works hard to have a show up about, you know, cars and all, just feel free to call on me, and I'll be glad to ride shotgun with you, and I won't even whine, right? So how can people get a hold of you?
You know somebody.
Yeah, I think I know somebody. And take us through your contact information, brother. It's up there on the screen.
Yeah, you can go on Instagram and Twitter with @DixonTopFuel. And then on Facebook, you can I've got a couple pages, Larry Dixon Racing and Larry Dixon Top Fuel Experience as well, too. I don't have this huge social media team. If you message me, I'm the guy that's going to answer the message. So you're talking to the guy. So anything that you want to know, whether it's about the 2-seater or anything else, or even autograph requests, you know, just fire away, and we'll happy to take care of you.
Well, brother, I can't thank you enough for being on the show. I know your schedule just nonstop. It's so cool to be back together again. I think the last time you saw me, my hair color was about the same as yours.
It was a little bit shorter, too.
It was a little bit shorter, too. But thank you so much, and it was a pleasure to have you. And viewers, you got to be checking out everything that he's doing. And, brother, you have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, and thanks for the time. You take care.
You too, man. Peace out. Ladies and gentlemen, what an experience. I know we're ran a little long today, but when you got a 2-seater dragster, you got to have time to talk about it. That concludes this week's episode. Make sure to share, like, and subscribe. Tell everybody what's going on with Larry Dixon Jr. and the ×2 Top Fuel Dragster. Until next time, enjoy the ride.